Hey there everybody, welcome to Auto Bears, and this is the new BMW 4 Series Gran Coupe. When the 4 Series Gran Coupe was first launched, it was an instant hit for BMW, because here we had a car that just seemed to tick all the boxes. We had 4 Series Coupe looks, we had the versatility of a 4-door 3 Series, and the hatchback practicality of a GT. Now for this latest version, it's definitely a case of, well, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I'm here on the UK launch of this new 4 Series Gran Coupe, and I'm going to see what it's all about. When it comes to styling, I definitely thought that the previous generation Gran Coupe was a very handsome car, and of course that aided to its success. Now of course with this latest generation 4 Series we have got the big nostril grille, but the Coupe's been out for over a year now, so we should all have made our decision and got a bit used to it. Now I actually really like the nostril grille, especially when in conjunction with a dark exterior paint colour, and this San Remo green is absolutely gorgeous, and in the right light, which I've got right now, it looks stunning. But let me know what you think of this San Remo green in the comments section below. But I definitely think it's got a very subtle look to it, and in some angles it actually looks black. However, where I'm stood, it looks bloody gorgeous. But also I actually think BMW have just kind of refined the styling of the 4 Series Gran Coupe, and it looks much more kind of as an individual model in the BMW 4 Series lineup than the previous generation. It didn't kind of feel like an extra car added to the lineup. But yeah, I'm really liking the new 4 Series Gran Coupe in terms of exterior styling. Now let's have a quick look at that interior. Sat in the front of the Gran Coupe, you are greeted by a very comfortable and very familiar interior. Of course, it does share it with the 4 Series Coupe and 3 Series Saloon. So everything is where you'd expect it to be if you are a current BMW owner. Now, cubby spaces are pretty good. We have got some decent sized door bins where you can get a medium sized bottle of drink in there, but they're not lined with any fabric, so loose items will rattle around a bit. Then we have got a storage area in front of the gear lever where we've got 2 cup holders and a bit of wireless charging. We've also got a USB input as well for charging your mobile device. And what I like is that you can cover it so no one else can see it when you're exiting the vehicle. And then just underneath, or just behind the armrest, we have got a little bit of extra space there with a USB-C input, which is actually really handy, but it's not as big as some of its rivals, but it is very handy, and it is lined with rubber as well, so loose items shouldn't rattle around in there. And then the glove box is of a decent size. It is lined with fabric, and the book pack actually is not too big, so that is a blessing. Good job this isn't a Hyundai. So yeah, when it comes to cubby spaces, it's actually pretty good in here. And then yes, we have got BMW's iDrive system, we have got the digital display, all things we are very familiar with. But I'm not going to go into too much detail, the reason being is I haven't got this car for too long, and because this is the Gran Coupe, I think we need to see what it's like in those back seats. Sat in the back of the Gran Coupe, it's actually not too bad back here, depending on your height. Now if you are over 6 foot tall, I think you will struggle for space, and you'll only be suitable for a short journey. But if you are my size, and I'm 5'7" tall and 5'7" wide, you should be absolutely fine for a medium to long journey. So that's actually quite promising. So it's definitely ideal for kids. Now that driver's seat is set to my driving position, and as you can see, I've got a good amount of knee room, and headroom is not too bad. Now if I do sit very much bolt upright, yes, I am rubbing my head against the ceiling, but if I do kind of sit here and relax, yeah, it's absolutely fine. It doesn't feel too claustrophobic. The windows are of a decent size, and I do love the pillarless doors. But yeah, sat here in the back of the 4 Series Gran Coupe should be absolutely fine. Now, when it comes to things like ISOFIX supports, we've got them on the outer seats, and there's a nice lift-up plastic cap, so you can actually get the bars nice and exposed, but you don't have to remove the plastic cap where there is a chance you could lose them. Cubby spaces are pretty good as well. We've got some decent sized door bins, but again not lined with any fabric. We've got your airplane style pockets on the backs of the front seats, and we've also got an armrest with a couple of additional cup holders, which is handy. And you also get a 40-20-40 split in the seats, so you can get that middle seat down if you need to load any long or kind of awkward items, which is really useful. And then we have got a couple of extra features in here. We have got a couple of air vents, we've got tri-zone climate control as well, and a couple of USB-C charging inputs, so that is really handy. And then finally, although I didn't cover it at the beginning, space is pretty good in here, definitely for 2 adults. I wouldn't recommend getting 3 adults back here, but it should be absolutely suitable for children. Opening the boot on the Gran Coupe presents you with 470 litres of space, which is actually 30 litres more than the coupe version of the 4 Series. But what I like as well is that because it's a hatchback, it does mean you can get large, bulky items into the back of your 4 Series. And I do love the fact that we have got a 40-20-40 split in the rear seats, so you can put that middle seat down if you want to load any long items through the boot area. So that is really handy. It's also not devoid of features. We have got some sturdy tethering hooks, we have got a 12-volt socket, and a couple of shopping hooks as well. So yeah, all in all, it's actually a very versatile and yeah, very practical coupe saloon car. But anyway, that's enough of looking at the practicality side of this 4 Series Gran Coupe. Let's take it for a quick drive. So once you get driving in the new Gran Coupe, first impressions are actually really positive. You do get the impression straight away that this is a brilliant long distance cruiser, and you'll easily come out the other end of a long journey feeling nice and relaxed. It also feels pretty refined in here as well. Now, visibility is pretty good. Front visibility is absolutely fine. The A-pillars are a little bit thick, but I've not found myself looking around them at any junctions. And if you look over your shoulder, you do find that there's not the thickest of C-pillars. However, rear visibility is not the best. It is quite a narrow field of view, and it doesn't help that the headrests, although they're not the biggest of headrests, they do kind of take up a small percentage of that view as well. But other than that, it's absolutely fine. I mean, I have got blind spot monitoring on this car as well, so that does help. But when it comes to everyday driving and such in the new Gran Coupe, you should have no issues whatsoever with getting comfortable, feeling relaxed, and just enjoying the ride. So the Gran Coupe range starts at just over £41,500, and you get the entry-level 420i. Now, in regards to engines, you've got a 420i, 430i, and a top-of-the-range M440i, and that comes with xDrive as standard. Now, there are 4 diesel engines to go for, and they are basically 420Ds, and 2 of those you can get with xDrive. So just be aware, if you want the petrol engine and the xDrive, you can only get that with the top sporty range M440i, so that's something to be aware of. But I've got a 420D here, and I am really impressed by it. Now, granted, I am kind of crawling along in close to rush hour traffic, but I can't hear the engine. There's nothing coming into the cabin, and I'm really impressed by that, and that just adds to that cruiser feel of the 4 Series Gran Coupe. And I know I could do a long journey, or a massive journey in fact, in this car and come out the other end feeling really nice and relaxed. So that really does add to the you know, benefits of the Gran Coupe, and it does show that people still want to do those kind of miles, because if you're a fleet driver or a business driver, a diesel engine is still going to be the one to go for, because you can do much more miles on a tank compared to an electric car, and it doesn't take that long really to brim the tank. Only 5 minutes compared to say 15 to 20 with a supercharger in something like a Tesla. So I still feel that there is a place for diesels in this day and age. They shouldn't be ruled out altogether, but I know as governments start to hate on them and we look to kind of the environment and getting, you know, fuel out of the ground, then yeah, that's when we will look at electric cars. But for the time being, apologies, just letting the police past, but for the time being, I still feel that there is a place for diesel. So what's the ride and handling like in the Gran Coupe? Well, ride-wise, it is really lovely. It deals with the bumps and imperfections really well. I've gone over a couple of potholes. And I can hear them, but I can't really feel them, so that is really impressive. Again, it just adds to that long-range cruiser appeal of the Gran Coupe. Now, refinement is another issue, because I can get a bit of tyre roar coming into the cabin now, and it is a little bit intrusive. Now, I am driving on a nice bit of tarmac, or slowing down on a nice bit of tarmac.
Right onto Hayford Hill roundabout, and then immediately turn into the second street on the left.
And it is actually really nice. So most of the roads in the UK should be absolutely fine. Just that occasional poor road will just kind of highlight that road noise coming into the cabin. Wind noise is actually really well isolated away. I can't really hear anything from the wing mirrors or from the A-pillar, so that is something I really do like. So yeah, in terms of kind of ride and refinement, for the most part, it's actually really good. Just that little bit of extra tyre roar kind of coming into the cabin is the only main intrusion. So the handling is actually really nice here in the 4 Series Gran Coupe. The steering is nice and light, so for everyday usability, it's absolutely fine. It hasn't got the kind of weight of one of the M cars for say, but it's really easy to drive about, easy to park as well, and there's a decent amount of feel coming through the wheel. This is the 4 Series Gran Coupe's strong point, and also actually it's BMW's strong point as well. So for everyday driving, this 4 Series Gran Coupe all round is a brilliant long range cruiser, but if you do decide to go on a twisty B road, it will reward you as well.
Arrive at your destination in 200 yards.
So what are my thoughts on this new 4 Series Gran Coupe are here on its media launch? Well, I'm hugely impressed by it, and I can't see why this won't be another massive success for BMW. So the fact that you got the range of petrol and diesel engines will definitely be a strong highlight. At the moment, there's no hybrids or plug-ins just yet, but they will be on the way. But you can go for the performance version, which is the M440i, or you can even now go for a fully electric i4M, and that is actually the M car version of the Gran Coupe. So really, BMW are throwing everything they can in terms of the 3 Series and 4 Series range in terms of performance. You have still got your M3, your M4 competitions and X-Drives, which I've been on today as well. But you've also got the i4M, which is now showing the future of BMW, and of course we've got the iX coming out as well. So in regards to the Gran Coupe, this is a very positive car. It's going to be a huge success for BMW because it ticks all those boxes just like its predecessor. But in terms of just like the future of BMW with their range of cars and everything, I think we're going to be spoilt for choice.